Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about the new lesson, that is surface chemistry. This is the last lesson of section A, means physical chemistry. The surface chemistry is a branch of chemistry which deals with the study of chemical process that occur at the interface between the solid and a gas or a solid and solute in solution. Means all the processes, chemical processes which occur at surfaces of solids or surfaces of liquids will be studied in this lesson. There are three important parts of this lesson. One is adsorption, other is catalysis, and third one is colloids. Adsorption is a surface phenomenon, while absorption is a bulk phenomenon. Means absorption occurs in whole parts of the solid, while adsorption only at the surface of the solid. For example, adsorption of hydrogen on the surface of platinum catalyst, adsorption of ethylene and hydrogen on the surface of nickel catalyst. Means adsorption occurs only at the surface of the solids or surface of the liquid or any other solid surfaces. This phenomena occur. During the adsorption, there is increase in concentration of molecules on the surface of the solid, and it is of two types: physical adsorption and chemical adsorption. In short, it is called physisorption and chemisorption. Physisorption means physical adsorption and chemisorption means chemical adsorption. So what is the main difference between physisorption and chemisorption? Physisorption, in this type of adsorption, only physical forces are responsible, like van der Waals forces. While in chemisorption, chemical bond forces are responsible. So this is the first point of difference between physisorption and chemisorption. Physical adsorption is non-specific, while chemical adsorption is specific. Physical adsorption occurs in more than one layer, means it is multi-layer adsorption, while chemical adsorption is monolayer adsorption. Single layer adsorption is chemical adsorption, while multi-layer adsorption is physical adsorption. In case of physical adsorption, some molecules get adsorbed and some molecules may remove from the surface. It means it is a reversible process, while chemical adsorption is irreversible process. In case of physical adsorption, heat of adsorption is low and it is about 20 to 40 kilojoule per mole, while in chemical adsorption, heat of adsorption is 80 to 2040 kilojoule per mole. It means during the physical adsorption, heat evolved is very less, while in chemical adsorption it is very high. Physical adsorption is non-specific, while chemical adsorption is specific. Physical adsorption is monolayer, physical adsorption is multi-layer, while chemical adsorption is monolayer. Physical adsorption is reversible, while chemical adsorption is irreversible. Physical adsorption takes place due to the physical forces like van der Waals forces, while chemical adsorption by chemical bond forces. Equilibrium is attained rapidly in case of physical adsorption, while the magnitude of adsorption first increases with increase in temperature and then decreases in case of chemical adsorption. So these are the main point of difference between physical adsorption and chemical adsorption. So according to reduced syllabus, Fehrenheit adsorption isotherm is removed. Only specific terms related to adsorption like adsorbate, adsorbent, physisorption, chemisorption, desorption, sorption are important for this year. Physical adsorption is known as physisorption. Chemical adsorption is chemisorption. Adsorption is a surface phenomena, while absorption is a bulk phenomena. Means absorption occurs only at the surface, while absorption occurs in whole of the substance, means it is a bulk phenomena. Now what is the meaning of adsorbate and adsorbent? Adsorbate means the substance which accumulate on the surface. For example, if some gases increase concentration at the surface of a solid, then solid is adsorbent, while the gases are adsorbate. So this is the meaning of adsorbate and adsorbent. Now the meaning of desorption and sorption. Desorption is the just reverse of adsorption. Desorption is the just reverse of adsorption. While sorption, if absorption and adsorption both the process occurs simultaneously, then this process is known as sorption. So the sorption means absorption and adsorption both. Desorption means reverse of adsorption, means removal of the gaseous molecules or adsorbate molecules on the adsorbent molecules from the surface of adsorbate. And sorption means absorption plus adsorption. Desorption means just reverse of adsorption. And absorption means it is a bulk phenomena which occurs throughout the substance. The next topic of surface chemistry is catalysis. Catalysis is also a surface phenomena. Since catalyst is a substance which alters the rate of a chemical reaction, a substance which alters the rate of chemical reaction is known as catalyst. And catalyst may be of two types: homogeneous and heterogeneous. The classification of catalyst and catalysis on the basis of physical states of catalyst and reactants are of two types. One is homogeneous catalysis and other is heterogeneous catalysis. So what is the meaning of homogeneous and heterogeneous catalysis? Homogeneous catalysis means if the physical state of catalyst as well as the reactant are same, then this is called homogeneous catalysis. If the physical state of reactant and the catalyst both are different, then it is called heterogeneous catalysis. For example, During the formation of ammonia, means synthesis of ammonia by Haber process, hydrogen gas is a reactant, nitrogen gas is a reactant, but iron, finally divided iron is catalyst. So iron is solid, but the reactants are gases. The physical state of reactant and catalyst is different. That is why the synthesis of ammonia by Haber process is an example of heterogeneous catalysis. In this reaction, a promoter is also used, molybdenum, which increases the efficiency of the finally divided iron. So what is promoter? Promoter is the substance which increases the efficiency of the catalyst is called promoter. So in Haber process, iron is catalyst while molybdenum is promoter. Homogeneous catalysis, when the physical state of catalyst and reactants both are same, either both are solid or both are liquid or both are gases, then this type of catalysis is known as homogeneous catalysis. For example, when potassium chlorate is heated, potassium chlorate is a solid which heated gives oxygen gas slowly, but when it is heated with manganese dioxide, which is again solid, means potassium chlorate solid is heated with a solid catalyst manganese dioxide, then hydrogen gas evolves rapidly at low temperature. So this is an example of homogeneous catalysis. Other example, hydrolysis of esters. Esters are liquids and mineral acid also liquid, like sulfuric acid is a liquid. So hydrolysis of ester is carried out in presence of mineral acid. This is an example of homogeneous catalysis because in this case the physical state of reactant and catalyst both are liquids. So what is the meaning of homogeneous and heterogeneous catalysis? When the physical state of reactant and the catalyst both are same, either both are liquid or both are solid or both are gases, the phenomenon of catalysis is known as homogeneous catalysis. And when the physical state of reactant and catalyst is different, means reactant is liquids, catalyst is gas, reactant is gas, catalyst is solid, reactant is liquid, catalyst is solid, means physical states of reactant and catalyst is different, then this type of catalysis is known as heterogeneous catalysis. Among these catalysis, means homogeneous and heterogeneous catalysis may be further divided into positive catalysis, negative catalysis, autocatalysis and induced catalysis. Depending on the nature of the catalyst, catalysis may be positive, negative, auto or induced. So what is the meaning of positive catalysis? When a catalyst increases the rate of reaction, the catalyst is known as positive catalyst and the phenomenon is called positive catalysis. So the synthesis of ammonia by Haber process, preparation of oxygen by the heat of potassium chlorate in presence of manganese dioxide, ester hydrolysis, these are positive catalysis because in this case catalyst increases the rate of reaction. And negative catalysis, when the catalyst decreases the rate of chemical reaction, called negative catalysis, and in this case catalyst is called negative catalyst. For example, ethyl alcohol. 1% ethyl alcohol is added to the chloroform in order to prevent its oxidation, because chloroform easily oxidized in the presence of light and forms very poisonous gas phosgene. In presence of ethyl alcohol, ethyl alcohol acts as negative catalyst and reduce the oxidation of chloroform into phosgene, and ethyl alcohol also converts phosgene, which is a poisonous gas, into a non-poisonous substance. That is why chloroform is always kept in colored bottle with 1% ethyl alcohol, because ethyl alcohol acts as negative catalyst for the oxidation of chloroform. So this is positive and negative catalysis. In some cases, a product of the reaction acts as catalyst. In this case, catalysis is termed as autocatalysis. For example, during the acid hydrolysis of ester, acid formed act as catalyst. For example, when ethyl acetate is hydrolyzed in the presence of mineral acid like sulfuric acid, then the acetic acid formed during the reaction act as catalyst. In this case, acetic acid play a role of autocatalyst, and the phenomena is known as autocatalysis. So these are the important types of catalysis. Positive catalysis, in which catalyst increases the rate of reaction. Negative catalysis, in which catalyst decreases the rate of reaction. Autocatalysis, in which the product of the reaction acts as catalyst. Now about the theory of catalysis. There are two important theories of catalysis. One is intermediate compound formation theory and other is adsorption theory. According to intermediate compound formation theory, a catalyst acts as intermediate. Means, first of all, a catalyst combine with one of the reactant and form an intermediate product, or you can say an intermediate substance. This intermediate substance, when combined with the next reactant, give product and leave the catalyst. This is the process of homogeneous catalysis, or you can say intermediate compound formation theory. So intermediate compound formation theory explains the mechanism of homogeneous catalysis. All the homogeneous catalysis can be explained with the help of intermediate compound formation theory. I repeat, in this theory, or according to this theory, first of all, catalyst combine with one of the reactant and form an intermediate, which means intermediate again combine with the reactant and give the product, and catalyst is removed. So this is the intermediate compound formation theory. And the next modern theory is adsorption theory, which explains all types of heterogeneous catalysis. Means heterogeneous catalysis can be explained with the help of adsorption theory, while homogeneous catalysis by intermediate compound formation theory. According to adsorption theory, there are number of active centers present on the surface of the catalyst, and these centers are free valencies of the catalyst, and these valencies are mainly found at the corners and in the cracks or troughs, at the edge their free valencies are maximum, and the place where free valencies are maximum called active centers. So according to adsorption theory, a solid catalyst possesses number of active centers. So what is the meaning of active center? Active centers are that points or cracks or edges or corners or any point on the surface of the catalyst where number of free valencies are maximum. At these places, means at the active centers, reactant molecules gets adsorbed and come in contact to each other, react and form the product, and finally leave the active center site for the adsorption of other reactant. So what are the different steps of adsorption theory? First of all, at the surface of catalyst there are number of active centers, means free valencies. Second, at the active centers, reactant molecules get adsorbed and come close to each other. Third step, reactant molecule react together and form a complex, means bond breaking and bond making takes place on the surface of the catalyst at active centers. Finally, reactant molecule leave the place in the form of product for the further adsorption. This theory also explains that minimum means less amount of the catalyst is sufficient to catalyze large amount of the reactants in order to form the product. Means small amount of catalysis can be explained with the help of adsorption theory. So this is all about catalysis. Now the third most important topic of the surface chemistry is colloids. Colloids are the state of matter in which the particle size varies from 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, and this is the intermediate state of true solution and suspension. In case of true solution, particle size below 1 nanometer, while in case of suspension it is more than 1000 nanometer. So it is very clear, in between true solution and suspension a state of matter is there in which particle size range from 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, and this state is called colloidal state. So this is the best definition of colloid: substances in which particle size range from 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer called colloids. And colloids are of two types: lyophilic and lyophobic colloids. Lyophilic, philic means loving, means those substances, those colloids which form colloidal solution immediately as they come in contact with the solvent. Such type of colloids are called lyophilic colloids. And lyophobic, phobic means hating, means they are solvent hating. They do not form colloidal solution when they come in contact with solvent. So colloidal solutions are of mainly two types: lyophilic and lyophobic. Lyophilic colloids form colloidal solution very easily as they come in contact with solvent, while lyophobic colloid does not form colloidal solution directly in contact of solvent. Lyophilic colloids are reversible, but lyophobic colloids are irreversible. Means lyophobic colloid can be precipitated and again they can be converted in the form of colloidal solution, while lyophobic colloid cannot. As soon as they precipitate, they remain as a precipitate. They cannot be converted into the colloidal solution anyhow. but lyophilic colloid can be converted into the precipitate and again into the colloidal solution. So this is the first part of surface chemistry. In the next video, you will study the remaining part of the surface chemistry. That's all. Thank you.